All right, we're live again, and we want to talk some reclassification. You can join us if you want. Send us a message. We'll post it if it ain't too dirty. Be nice. There's been a lot of thoughts on social media and everywhere, and I've talked to a bunch of different people, and there's different thoughts out there about all these decisions being made. We're going to go over some of the local teams and then give our representatives here a chance to talk about their school or region or area, whatever they want to do. Who wants to start first? Talk about these two schools first that actually appealed today, Gordon Lee and Trine. Let me add this to the stream.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's actually surprised a lot of people. A lot of the people I talked to before thought it would go the other way.
Yeah.
That Gordon Lee would win their appeal and Trine would lose. But I mean, like I said, completely opposite of what everybody thought going in. And Trine actually appealed to go down to the lowest level of A, and it was denied. But they gave them a chance to appeal to the higher level of A, which I thought was surprising. But it passed, and they're in A, and Gordon Lee's in 2.
Well, I think one of the reasons why Trine was approved because it just makes sense. I mean, literally, it's tiny. It's a tiny city. You know what I mean?
I mean, but
they're drawing from is tiny.
I mean, but if you look at it that way, I mean, they both make sense.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. I agree with that.
I thought it was interesting that there was a substitute motion made by Glenn White to instead of approve after Trine's motion was denied, and this didn't happen with Gordon Lee. After the denial, there was a secondary substitute motion saying, hey, let's move them instead of all the way down to D2. Let's move them down one classification to D1. And that motion passed.
Yeah. Gordon Lee, they didn't even appeal to go to D2. They appealed to go to D1. So that may have hurt them. I'm not sure. And then obviously there's people that have thoughts that this may not be over, but we've been in discussion beforehand that we think this might be signed, sealed, and delivered here, but who knows? We'll see.
Yeah, from what I've heard, I don't think the schools have a chance to appeal to move from class to class. They can appeal to move from 6A to 7A or whatever, but I think Gordon Lee's stuck in 2A for a couple of years.
Yep. That's what I'm thinking.
Yep.
So, Paul,
Yep.
Congratulations.
Yes, sir.
I think Paul's a little bit more excited than what he was last night.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I'm not thrilled completely, but I get it. I understand a lot of people's thinking about the whole multiplier thing, and Trine has a lot of out of district kids, so I get it. I'm still not completely thrilled. I don't agree with a school with 380 students playing against schools with 700-800 students, but it could have been much worse. So I'll take it.
Yeah.
Yes, I saw Paul made a comment earlier on Twitter today, which makes sense. The best thing to come out of this is Trine and Chattooga will be forced to play each other for the next 2 years in every sport. Something that hasn't happened in 41 years, 50 years?
50 years.
Yeah.
50 years.
And who scored the last touchdown? Paul, tell everybody
who scored the last touchdown.
That would be Phil Cavan. Scored the last touchdown in the rivalry in 1970, and just to not leave this out, he also kicked the extra point following that touchdown. So.
Good stuff. Good information.
People may not know it, but Phil actually holds quite a few Chattooga records.
Yeah. Yes, sir. He was very excited about the rivalry continuing, but he also made sure to point out that the first touchdown scored next fall in that game is going to kind of move his last touchdown scored in the rivalry to the side. And he was not as excited about that as he was about the rivalry being renewed.
The two words just popping up there were the words that I gave you guys the other day. Jeff Mullis.
Hey, like I said in our group chat,
we lost you, Paul.
I think you went out on us.
Uh-oh.
Hey, like I said in our group chat, go ahead, Levi.
No, I was just they popped up a quote there that they were involving the state senator, and I do believe that Jeff Mullis has a good number of the GHSA staff their ear as the head of the rules committee for the Georgia State Senate, and he is a very well known there in the Chickamauga area, and there's a lot of people leaning on him heavy to kind of push that through. And I know in the past lawyers have been involved, and GHSA has had to take things to court. And from the birds that I've heard, that is the direction that it's going for Gordon Lee.
But yeah, I heard also that the final vote by GSHA is January 10th. The Georgia Congress opens up January 10th, so they don't have time to do anything this year. I mean, even if they wanted to pass a law, they won't be able to until next year.
I think it's going to be a little too late. And I think, in most sports, they're going to compete. They're not going to be. It's not going to be as bad as what we think. I don't think.
No, Gordon Lee has a long run of. But yeah, baseball, softball, cheerleading, they have been not just successful, but dominant in those sports. And I don't think they want to give those up. But I don't think that they'll be I think that rather than fearing going into AA, they should be more concerned about all the private schools rolling in amongst all the public schools. That's going to be the bigger threat to the Gordon Lee run of dominance.
This is a very interesting point here by Barry Woods. He says, Tryon lucked up by being denied Division II because travel would have been just brutal. I believe the closest person would have been Christian Heritage. Everybody else would have been just long.
Yeah, you'd be going to Towns, Bowden.
Yeah,
Christian
Heritage. They're going to be doing a lot of travel.
That was going to be a question I was going to ask you guys, because I haven't looked at everything today. Like what does the single A D2 look like?
Yeah, we'll be there. We're going to start it with 3A, but we're gonna go through each region right here. I got it. I'll pull it all up.
Okay.
If y'all have time, it's very interesting. There's not a lot of schools that you would recognize from around here. There's only like Bowden, Christian Heritage, maybe one or two others.
And a lot of them are non-football playing schools too.
Yes.
Yeah.
True.
There's about 20 or 30 or more.
Yeah. So flipping on down here, we'll go ahead and tackle 3A real quick. We're just going to go 3A, 2A, and then the two divisions in A, because those are the ones that were directly affected by any of these decisions that have been made.
And our experts, I think we need to get Chris to chime in right there on Region 6 AAA, because there's a lot to be said about Region 6 and 7.
There is not many teams left. I mean, you take Sonoraville out, you take Rockmart, you take North Murray, you take Murray County, and you nix the plans that you were going to put Gilmer Pickens in there. So this is what you're left with, the 6-team 6 AAA. A normal region for once, but I don't get to cheer for them. I would honestly not be surprised at all to see Bremen try to put a lateral appeal in. I wouldn't want anything to do with that Region 5 AAA. I mean, I don't know where the playoffs are, who matches up this year. I know it was 6 and 8 and 5 and 7 this year. It could be 5 and 6 playing in the playoffs next year. So that's going to be tough for 6 AAA.
I don't think that Bremen is going to be granted a lateral move. I thought Gilmer or Pickens would have a better shot at a lateral move into 6 AAA.
Yep, probably. Because I don't think they'll leave it at 4 teams down there in 5 AAA. And the 4 teams Bremen's in there with are fairly good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How far is the trip from Bremen to the city of Atlanta? What's about 45 miles?
I think Sandy Creek, I think you're maybe 20, maybe less than around 20 miles. I think that's the closest to them. But that's a tough region right there for Bremen to fall into. Because I mean, how tough is it? Two of these schools are playing for a state championship tomorrow or Saturday.
Yeah.
Carver and Cedar Grove. So that's
Bremen High School to Sandy Creek is about an hour. It's 47 miles.
wow. So Douglas, is that the closest school to Bremen?
Give me 1 second, and I'll find out.
I would assume so.
And while he's looking that up, back in the Region 6 AAA there, that gives real life to Coahulla Creek and Lafayette to battle it out for
A home playoff game.
Yes.
Yeah, yes. I think it's going to happen. I mean, I really like Adairsville in that 6 AAA.
Yep.
I think
because Ringo's losing all their weapons.
and Ridgeland's still kind of down.
Ridgeland's down.
I really think
Ridgeland's going to have a new head coach, and they're always going to have 2, 3, 4 athletes just because some kids from Tennessee will come down and all that stuff. But
Ridgeland's in a rebuilding year, and LFO is still trying to find out who they are. But I think Lafayette may be on the swing back up, and definitely Adairsville is on the swing up.
Yeah.
So I feel like Lafayette, Adairsville, and Ringo will be those battling for a home playoff spot.
Coahulla Creek.
Yeah.
I think it's Adairsville, and I really like Coahulla Creek and Lafayette battling for that number 2.
I've heard through the grapevine that the new head coach for the Panthers is going to be that guy from South Pittsburgh that helped turn Coahulla Creek around this year.
Vic Grider?
Yeah.
Oh,
Really?
I did not hear that.
Yeah, I think I've heard that too. Grider's the one that won all the games and state championships before this year at South Pitt.
there you go, spreading rumors.
Yeah. The rumor show.
What do they say about rumors?
Halftime
Kick off the air.
Hey, I tell you one thing about rumors is they're true at least 50% of the time.
Yeah,
At least 50% of the time they're true.
Yeah.
Hey,
So,
it would be a home run hire for them though.
Oh yeah.
Yes, it will.
Anybody want to make mention of 7 AAA? We got a couple teams in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, RJ, what's everybody at Pickens' thoughts about that?
Personally, I like it because you finally get Gilmer back in a region with you, and then you add Lumpkin and Dawson. Lumpkin and Dawson probably should have been in a region with you for a long time now.
I like that group right there, but once you throw in Wesleyan, boy, y'all got your hands full.
Well, that's going to happen, but they can deal with Wesleyan, and it's not that far away, like hour 15 minutes away. So if that's your longest drive, there's no complaints there.
And they have a stadium that's worth the trip too. Beautiful place.
Pretty nice.
They do.
Are they still very good at basketball too?
They are.
Yeah. Saw that they finished their football season this past season at 8-4. So they would probably likely be like the favorite, I would say, coming in. But I think Pickens and Dawson's going to battle out with them for 1 and 2 and 3. And
anybody who's been watching Pickens has seen how young and consistent Pickens has been. A lot of youngsters on that team and steady tracking up.
Yeah, we're gonna have all our sophomores and stuff will be upperclassmen and be ready for that. Plus, they got the 8th grade group coming in, and that'll be helpful coming into this region. So, but I think White County would probably fill out the 4. Looking early into the football playoff picture, I think White County would fill out the 4. I think Gilmer's still kind of down. They could be kind of sneaky, and then Westall would probably be the odd team out in that scenario. But you never know. But I think Pickens and Dawson are going to battle out Wesleyan for football this year.
How about one over there, before we get off AAA with Carver, Columbus, Thomasville, Chris County? I mean, that's Doherty.
Did anybody see that?
And Region 8 are both loaded.
Yeah, Thomasville's loaded. Crisp is always good.
Did anybody watch that Thomasville and Rayburn game the other day?
I
Yes,
did. I was
I
very
did.
impressed with Thomasville.
Whoa.
Thomasville. Wow.
Their
Were
defensive
you guys
line
not surprised?
just-
Were you guys not surprised how the Region 1 teams just swept through Region 8? I couldn't believe Monroe area, Oconee, all of them just kind of wilted early to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they were pretty good.
Thomasville's coach is the old Gilmer coach, ain't it? Grage?
Not
Yeah.
sure.
And the
know.
quarterback's an Pepperell coach.
Yep.
Like
Well,
quarterback.
Grage came up to LJ for a cup of coffee, I guess, and he left. He got the turf for him and then split.
Huh. I'm looking here for a staff just to double check that, but I think you're probably right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Zach
remember when
Graves,
that.
head coach.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They hired him from Colquitt when Probst
Yeah.
was there.
He literally had a cup of coffee at Gilmer. He liked it regular. He was there for a little bit.
And they're playing Fitzgerald in a championship game.
Yep.
That's going to be an interesting one.
Yeah.
All righty. Any other regions here? I think all the rest of them we kind of either made mention or don't have anybody from our area.
So who's going to be our new 6 AAA guy?
RJ.
I mean,
We already put yeah.
Going to have to be RJ. Yep.
RJ's just going to be our AAA guy, period.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think Lawrence or somebody put out a posting, but we forgot about RJ's Pickens team moving into 6 AAA. So.
Or 7. There's 7 AA. They got
Yeah,
moved back,
7.
so.
Yeah, we'll have to get a new one then.
Yeah.
So here's your AA lineup, and this is the majority of the teams that we cover here in this region. Callaway is over in 5 AA, and that's a very interesting region with Eagles Landing Christian coming in there. Columbia, I know on the basketball front, Columbia has been pretty good here of late. Not sure about football, but
The most interesting region I see right off the bat is 3 AA.
Yep.
Appling,
yeah,
Pierce,
And
Tattenhall.
Tattenhall.
Jeff Davis had a very good year this year.
yes, sir.
Yeah.
Toombs.
And Vidalia had a good season, but just kind of going in chronological order though. But Region 1 AAA is kind of tough. Region 1 AA Fitzgerald, they're going to walk through it.
Yeah,
Roll through it.
I mean, they're going to walk through. I mean, it's going to be easy for them.
Yeah.
Yes,
So they're gonna
Dodge
have
County has
another
been
nice
up and
path to
down,
the
but
playoffs.
nobody's on the level of Fitzgerald. Nobody's even close.
Nah.
no.
I've seen enough of them.
Answer me this: Eagles Landing and Callaway. What are you thinking there? What do you
Eagles
think?
Landing.
Eagles Landing.
Eagles
Battle.
Landing all day.
Yeah.
I think a battle, but yeah, I give it to Eagles Landing.
Yeah.
And Callaway
I don't think that they're. I don't think there's going to be. Again, we don't know how long this is going to last. I mean, they do this every 2 years, so it's hard to make a long-term prediction. But in my mind, Callaway should be able to play with Eagles Landing in some years if they stayed in this alignment long term. But
Yeah.
I think Eagles Landing is probably got the upper hand. But I think Callaway has had some teams that could beat Eagles Landing. And again, it's all about the 2-year thing. I mean, who knows what's going to happen in 2 years? But I don't know what Callaway has coming back this year or next year. But if this was a 10-year kind of outlook, I would say that Callaway could play with them in some of those years, but obviously not all of them.
Well, hey guys, everybody take a look across all of these regions right here. And other than Eagles Landing, do you see any other private schools that are going to make a consistent run at the Final Four? We've been talking. We've been talking. Yeah, I mean, we've been talking a lot about the impact of North Cobb Christian has good moments. Mount Perrin's good in some sports.
Fellowship, maybe.
Yeah, across the board, I feel like the private schools will not dominate AA, and which is why I was surprised that Gordon Lee and Tryon were both so anxious to get out of there because the private schools aren't as impactful here as they are down in
I agree 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think Eagles Landing, when Trinity Christian got moved to 4A, I think Eagles Landing should have went with them, to be honest with you.
And those two have honestly formed their own rivalry over the last few years.
Yeah, they played twice this season.
Yeah. And they played twice last season as well.
Yep.
I don't disagree with you, Levi, in some ways about the private schools, the majority of them being in single A. I'm not a fan of that. I understand, in my opinion, I understand why I think Tryon and Gordon Lee tried to plead down. Tryon and Gordon Lee, in my opinion, they're not competing for state championships. They're just not, at least in football. I don't know about every other sport. I know wrestling, Tryon's got a good wrestling program. But as far as football goes, I think it was more a decision of about who we're going to play in the regular season and making the playoffs versus making a run for a state championship.
Yeah, I agree there. And I also see where, people have a short memory, and Tryon had possibly their best season ever this year with 10-1, or 10-1, and Rob Brown's performance. But the year before, Tryon had one region win, just 1 year removed.
Yeah, and that's kind of the point I've been trying to make this whole time this has been going on, is that it's not like Tryon is a powerhouse. I mean, that they've been a fairly consistent program over the years, but this year's 2021 Tryon team is probably one of the best 4 or 5 Tryon football teams over the last 25 or 30 years. That on average, Tryon's is probably a 6-4, 7-3 team, make it to the playoffs, get put out in the first round. There's nothing wrong with that.
But Paul, in this lineup right here, this year, Tryon beat Model. The year before, Model beat Tryon. Gordon Central, Tryon's gonna beat them 9 times out of 10. Murray County, you're gonna beat 9 times out of 10. And up until this year, I don't think Haralson County would have been a head and shoulders above Tryon. I think that North Murray, Rockmart, and Fannin would be a challenge, but this year I think in an average year for Tryon, if you look at an average year, and again, some years are a little better, some years a little worse, but if you just take an average year for Tryon, they have no shot to beat Rockmart. They have very little shot to beat Fannin or Haralson, and I think they've got very little shot to beat North Murray. And so my thinking is that in most years, you're looking at no shot to make the playoffs in that region.
I don't think the GHSA is even looking at it like that. I think they're just looking at pure numbers and location, geography, and let it fall where it must.
Yeah,
anyway,
I think they are keeping that as their number one goal right there. I think they're really trying to cut down on midweek travel. And look, guys, there's a bus driver shortage nationwide too.
Yeah,
it's we know a lot about sports. We don't know a lot about
along with the referee shortage.
Yes, true.
Yeah, they're making referees drive.
There's several things that factor in. We all from a standpoint, we all like to look at it from mainly football and basketball and baseball, but like you got to factor in all those midweek games and midweek travels. You got to factor in, are schools able to get bus drivers to leave early to drive 2 hours? There's so many other factors that go into this that, I can't even imagine what they go through.
That's a good point.
Yeah, you look at softball and volleyball and baseball, basketball. Those guys play 2 and 3 games a week sometimes during the week.
Yeah, and you got RJ over here with esports. Okay, I'm kind of joking here. Y'all can laugh.
RJ's not laughing.
Pickens has an esports team.
Do they?
I didn't know that.
One. Very good one.
They're legit. They have a video game
like a
team.
2-time state champion. Good one.
Yeah,
they're sponsored.
That's cool.
Where'd everybody go on the screen, Ben? I can't see anybody.
He made it full screen so we could read better.
Oh, okay.
I could show you. I could show you those people if you want to see them. There they are.
Tim
I'm
not
said
seeing the reaction.
I was laughing.
All right,
I'm not
there's
sure
everybody.
we're all worth looking at. But
I feel better now. I felt lost. I
We've
didn't know
all,
where
we've
to
all
go.
got faces for radio.
Speaking
So
of
let-
that,
Yeah.
where did
Let's
Lawrence
talk.
go? Anybody seen Lawrence?
I don't know.
Hey,
Let's-
but back here on the double A, I
Yeah,
do
7
think
double A.
that I do think really what you're looking at there is Model is the only one of the original Region 7 AA teams to remain in it. All of the others,
Well, yeah.
no,
Yeah.
Gordon Central's only been in 5 years. Fannon's only been in 2. Model's the only one of the original. So that whole region has a new look now, and basically all of those teams have dropped to Region 7 D1A.
I think it's a good region. I think it'll be very competitive.
I think 7AA is a very good region. I
Yeah,
think it's
Very
competitive.
good region.
That's probably
I
going
don't
to be the
know.
best
I think
region
you
in
now have
AA.
5 good teams in there that will be consistently above average teams.
Yeah.
And by that I mean they're going to have winning records at the end of the year.
Yeah. And I don't know where Gordon Lee is going to fall. I don't know if they are successful. I would think not. So I think it stays with 8 teams here.
But
Yep.
you talking about fun matchups. I mean, I'm disappointed that we didn't get to see Seth Reese versus Clay Hyatt. You know,
Yeah, that would have been a fun matchup.
that-
Missed it
that
by a
would've been
year.
fun. But we get
Hold 'em
Fannin and
back.
Harrelson. We
Hold 'em
get
back.
North Murray, Harrelson, North Murray, Fannin. Rockmart. Obviously, I don't know what to think about Rockmart right now, but I know that I'm excited. For
well,
these
I mean,
matchups.
guys, we typically tend to look at everything from a football perspective. I mean, we're on the Northwest Georgia football show, obviously. But I mean, there's a lot more to look at than just football. And I do think there's some interesting matchups. Gordon Lee has no shot, in my opinion, to win more than 2 region games in this region. But they can compete in some other sports. So,
Yeah.
I mean, there's more to look at than just football. But and I think some of us were talking about it earlier, either on Twitter or on our group chat. And no disrespect to Harrelson or Fannin or anybody else, but until somebody proves otherwise, Rockmart is going to dominate this region in football.
Yeah.
We dealt with this with Calhoun in there. For
I'm not
15
sure.
years.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure Rockmart dominates. I mean, they do have outstanding athletes, and they had the better team here late. But I think there's some other teams there that can handle my L. Like I think Fannin, North Murray is going to be good. You never know what Harrelson's going to come up with. Now I would say your weaker teams would probably be the Gordon Lees,
Well,
Centrals, and Murrays.
That's kind of my point, Benton, is that we're saying, like, you never know what this team's going to come up with, or this team may be good this year. Rockmart is pretty consistently good.
Yeah, I got what you're saying. You're saying their consistent average is going to be better.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm not saying those teams don't have a shot a year here and there, but consistently, if this region were to stay the same region, like I said earlier, for 10 years, Rockmart's going to win this region 8 out of 10 years.
Well, I don't know where Lawrence went, but he could back me up. Just a few years ago, Rockmart was in that AA region, and they did not win it every year. I mean, they did win it some, but not every year,
Yeah. I think Gordon Lee might be more competitive than everybody thinks.
Yeah,
I did too.
They can run the football.
In
so
football?
They can
yeah,
run,
I think so.
they can run the football. So that makes
Man, I don't
them
know.
competitive.
I think
I'm not sure. I'm not sure the 10-2 Gordon Lee football team from last year would have made the playoffs in this region.
I'm gonna talk. I think this is the SEC of AA.
It's going to be a lot.
I'm not trying to hate on Gordon Lee. I just don't see it. I don't see that 10-2 Gordon Lee team from last year making the playoffs in this region.
All
Yeah,
right,
I
let's
think
look
we
around
have-
the state. Look around the state at AA. Who's your top 10?
That's what I'm saying. Callaway and Eagles Landing are going to be right there. Fitzgerald.
Fitzgerald.
obviously.
Fitzgerald, I think you could probably Fitzgerald and Eagles Landing. I think would be the top 2.
I agree.
And then Callaway right there.
Jeff Davis, Pierce, and Tatnall, they'll all be part of your top 10.
Pierce will be good, yes.
Rockmart and North Murray.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't be surprised if you've seen even some of the smaller ones like Fellowship to show up in that top 10.
Yeah. Start the season, I think all those schools we just named, I think you could see in the top 10. That's why I like this 7AA. I think it's competitive across the state. I think you might run into a team here and there from one of the, one of those other regions, especially when you're talking 3AA. That's a loaded region, and 5 is tough with Eagles Landing.
Yeah,
and Callaway.
I think you got stud teams in 1 and 5, but 3 and 7 have much more depth across the board. 3 and 7 are your deepest.
7.
Well, and I mean,
to me, geography wise or geographically, I mean, what is your farthest travel? Probably Rockmart to Fannin.
Yep.
Or Harrelson to Fannin.
Harrelson to Fannin, because that's
Harrelson to Fannin. I mapped it out today. About 2 hours and 15 minutes.
Ooh.
Yeah. Harrelson and Rockmart are so far southwest, and Fannin is so far
north central.
Central Gordon Lee.
Northeast.
Yeah.
North central.
That's why I really thought we may get Union in it, and I didn't expect Rockmart or Harrelson when they were putting 7AA together.
Well, I know DJ's not on here, but I want to ask Tim, and the rest of you guys may know a little more than I do, but obviously Fannin is losing Seth Reese, Harrelson's losing Clay Hyatt, but what do those two teams have coming back?
Tim,
without those two guys. I'm being serious. I don't know.
Yeah, I've been working with Coach Cheatham and Coach Thigpen this week and get my arm ready.
Was Mashburn a senior?
Yes. So first of all, fans going to have a ton coming back on defense. Losing Case Knowles, we have Andrew Waldrop, Cade Sands, Carson Collis, Corbin Davenport in the secondary, Logan Long, who's a guy on the defensive line that nobody talks about. David Mashburn will be returning quarterback.
He's a good player.
He obviously we all know he did start the first few games of the year, and Seth Reese took over. But Mashburn still played some valuable plays and scored a big touchdown in the
Dade game.
In the Dade County game, yes. Really kind of sparked him and gave us the lead, I believe. I think
it did.
David Mashburn's a player, so don't sleep on David Mashburn just because he lost the starting quarterback job mid-season after the Sonoraville game. He's a great ball player, but
I agree. If they would have had more consistent play from the receivers, Mashburn would have stuck around. I feel like they went more to the run with Seth Reese. If they'd had more consistent receiver play, I feel like Mashburn would have been fine.
Yeah. And
so,
but
the reason I asked that question is because I believe Fannin and Harrelson both probably have the talent on the overall roster to be close to competing in that region, but I do think they're going to need that one or two dynamic players to get past Rockmart.
Yeah, I mean, I've watched for the past 4 years Harrelson. I remember Traylon Shepard. He had a great run there, and then right after that, the Clay Hyatt era began, and so they've had a great run. I don't know if they maybe diversify a little bit in their offensive attack or what are they going to do. So it'll be interesting to see this year. We'll have to wait to the spring games.
Yeah.
Well, go ahead and jump in here to Single A now.
Yeah, Single A. This is D1.
D1, baby.
Welcome to the playoffs, Commerce and Raven.
Yes. Let me roll out the red carpet for you.
Well,
you got two of those schools don't even have football teams. So Commerce and Raven are almost guaranteed annual home playoff games.
Pretty much.
That's crazy.
It's crazy.
4 teams that play football. So everybody gets to the playoffs automatically.
Everybody's going to the playoffs, and all you're fighting for is that home field advantage. And I just don't see Elbert is up and down, but I don't see Elbert competing on a consistent basis. And Athens Christian, I know nothing about.
Anybody ever been to Elbert?
Anybody ever been to where?
Elbert?
The Granite Bowl.
Not that I
Yeah, I've
know
never
of.
been. I want to go one day, but I've never been.
Seeing
Granite Bowl.
Go ahead.
seeing
RJ.
Commerce earlier this year, they've got some young kids at number 2. Daniels, I get what is his last name. He's going to be a big time player for them. He was only a freshman this year.
And you can see Region 4 there with Hurd and Temple both pulling in there. I think they'll do good there.
Interesting region. You got Slay moving up from, well, I guess they're staying in single A, but Slay County is normally a good a baseball program for sure.
Good baseball program.
So it seems like a long way from Temple to Slay County, it seems like.
Yeah, and I have no clue where Brookstone is.
Brookstone is southwest Georgia, correct?
Probably. I don't know.
I mean, when I was in high school, they were a wrestling powerhouse, and I don't remember for sure, but I think they're not extreme southwest, but maybe a little below south central Georgia, maybe.
Well, then you've got a basketball region there in Region 2, Bleckley, Dublin, Swainsboro, Jefferson.
Just an FYI, it says in current traffic, Schley County to Temple is 2 hours and 44 minutes.
Yeah.
150 miles. 150 miles.
For a region game?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Tryon played Schley in the playoffs about 3 or 4 years ago when my sister's son played for Tryon. And I didn't go down because Cole was playing for Chattanooga at the time, but my dad went down, and it was about a 4.5 hour trip from here.
Temple to Brookstone is 1 hour and 41 minutes.
Okay, so that's not too bad then. Compared to
Brookstone is just above Fort Benning.
But still, for those 2 games on their region nights, you're going to have 4 to 5 hour round trip traffic. I mean, 4 or 5 hours.
Yep. Not good. Anyway, that might be the furthest one that I've seen.
And that's a region. I've not seen one that far.
That's brutal.
Yeah. So let's talk about let's first talk about some of the private schools that are in this one. Maybe private school favorites. 5A right there, Division I, 5A. Prince Avenue Christian sitting right there.
Yeah, buddy. The PAC.
Yeah. And, I mean, you look at some of these other regions, 1A, you got Early County and Brooks, along with Irwin County.
Or you got Irwin County there, yeah.
Yeah.
Irwin and Brooks still in the same region.
Dublin, yep. Jefferson County, Swainsboro. They're normally good football, good basketball. And then you go to the I guess you call it the private schools. You got Drew Charter and all those in 6A, Kings.
Yeah,
Ridge.
but of those 11 teams, 6 have no football team. There's only 5 football teams in that region.
Yep.
Yeah, Mount Vernon. Mount Vernon is one of those teams that I believe they had AAA numbers.
Mount Pisgah is a good solid team.
Let me make sure I'm not misquoting, but I'm pretty sure Mount Vernon was one of those teams that had AAA numbers that moved to single A. Yeah, Mount Vernon Presbyterian moved down 2 classifications. Their reclass count total is 1168, and they're playing in D1 here.
How did that work out?
They have 456 with 356 out of zone.
I believe they got the same exemption that Darlington got. The Darlington exemption, which is boarding students don't count as OODs.
Yep.
Okay.
That's exactly right.
That makes sense.
That is crap. That's crap.
Well, I knew you wouldn't like that one too much, but I seen that earlier and I had to kind of.
I don't like it. I don't like it, and I know some people don't like that Tryon's got 250 out of district students, but that's apples to oranges.
Yeah, but some of the Tryons out of district students live about 400 feet from the school.
Yeah,
That's true.
So-
Yeah, or at the very most a mile or two.
in
Yeah.
the county,
In a lot of
but
cases.
in the county for sure.
Yeah.
Sometimes. I wonder how many are from actually outside the county, like out of like Walker County.
I don't think there's very many. I don't know the exact number, but I can't imagine there's more than a couple dozen.
No, you have Walker and Dade right there, and Walker County is very close to Tryon. I mean, I don't think that it's 4 miles to the county line. They're on the north side. Tryon's up on the
Right
north
there at
Walker
151. Yeah.
Yeah. So Walker County dips down. You have some people with who live in Walker County that still have a Tryon zip code.
Yeah, I know a couple of those, or I know some that have both zip codes.
Yeah,
Crazy. So the main school. Go ahead, Paul.
Oh, I got nothing more to say.
I was just talking about.
I don't like that whole boarding thing. You know what? Everybody come stay at my house. If you're a good athlete, we'll put you up. We'll feed you. You know what?
We're not
Let's do it
condoning
that way.
DHSA.
Now, Benton mentioned this too. The bulk of their boarding students are not football players. They may be soccer, tennis, and swimmers, but they're not getting anything from their. If you go look at
in there.
Yeah, if you go look at their football roster, it is largely City of Rome based kids.
I agree with that, but still, they're getting help with the multiplier, correct?
Yeah.
As far as the
definitely
boarding
helped them
students,
on the multiplier.
Yes, and that's all I care about.
So
So who's your playoff picks for 7?
That's what I was going to say.
Single A.
7A.
All you D1 guys.
Well, I can tell you,
Darlington
and Pepperell are going to be 1 and 2 favorites starting out right out of the gate. Darlington and Pepperell,
without a doubt, almost every year.
Every year. Dade County,
Dade Stu,
I like Dade. I like Dade.
Yeah,
I think
Dade
Don't sleep on Dade County. I don't get all the Pepperell love and all the Pepperell hype. I'm just going to be honest.
That's because you're not from around here. Pepperell they had a down year this year. They had a little bit of a down year this year, but Pepperell has been one of the most dominant, lower class, single A, double A teams in this area for the last 30 years.
Yeah, last 2 years though, I wasn't impressed.
All right, Fannin County handled them pretty easy, but the truth is, even the last 2 years, they finished second in the region, and they're down years.
Yeah,
they did it last year.
Yeah, and Fannin had Seth Reeds.
Yeah, they did it when their all-star quarterback went down.
All I'm saying is, don't sleep on Dade County. That was my whole main point. Dade County. I'm telling you, Coach Poston, man, has done a heck of a job, and I
agree.
I would have him at 2 right now.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie to you. I feel like Coach Poston has definitely found the formula up there to get his crew. And I've said it about the sports across the board in Dade County. They're all surging. They've all got great momentum, great energy there. Their softball, their basketball, their wrestling has been off the charts good and just getting better. And their football team showed it this year that they are just scrappers in every game. And what they did against Fannin blew me away.
Well, I'm going to just say, from my perspective, football-wise, Darlington and Pepperell have to be 1 and 2 going into this thing, just because of history.
Yeah,
I'm not saying Dade County can't compete. I'm not saying Tryon or Chattooga or somebody. I'm just being year in year out throughout the history. It's Pepperell and Darlington.
And I can tell you this:
Dade County Dade County and Coach Poston. I mean, he's doing a great job, but they're going to have to prove year in and year out that they belong.
Dade County has beat Pepperell 1 time in the past 10 years. Chattooga has beat Pepperell 1 time in the past 10 years. Coosa, Armurchie, and Model have beat Pepperell 0 times in the past 10 years. That's why Pepperell is number 2.
I think
that's why they get the nod.
Yeah, I think going into next year, just looking at the region and what should be coming back and whatnot, I think you're right. Darlington Pepperell is probably your 1, 2, and honestly, I would go Dade and Tryon in that 3, 4, 5, maybe Chattooga, and you never know. You might see something out of Coosa or Armurchie Murchie's been
Tribe's
coming up.
gonna have a little bit of a drop off. I mean, obviously they're losing Rob Brown. They're losing about 15 seniors, 3 or 4 offensive linemen. But
they're losing 15.
Don't sleep on Trine as a playoff team for next year. Coach
I'm
Patrick
high on Trine's quarterback. I like that guy. He can sling it.
I mean, I agree. I mean, Coach Patrick has done a great job. Those kids buy in. They've got some good 8th graders coming up. Logan Eller is a beast. Toby Maddox is a good football player. The Stokes kid and the Stoker kid. I mean, they're going to fall off, but it's not going to be as big of a fall off as some people think.
I can tell you right now, Logan Eller and Landon Williams from Dade County will be 2 of the top defensive players in the region next year. And I know Tim was talking about one of those. They lost the meat of their defense at Fannin. And I agree. Darlington is reloading. Darlington is going to come out with a quarterback. Trine's young kid is a fantastic quarterback. Matthew Waddell is only a junior this year at Pepperell. He has been silently just putting up numbers. And if he could get – he lost 2 of his top receivers up there in Pepperell and still was able to pass for nearly 1,000 yards. So there's going to be some good quarterbacks in this region. Armurchie, and Lawrence might be able to chime in. Armurchie is trying to put together a passing game again, did so at moments. But I think that there'll be several teams here that are throwing the ball next year that and doing so well.
The Cooper kid from Dade County. I mean, he was great in the pocket. I thought that guy had great pocket presence. He got rid of the ball. He moved around. He
scrambled, had a quick release.
Yeah.
And he was
Armurchie has a very young offensive line.
Yeah.
So they've got a lot of offensive linemen coming back. So, I mean, I agree. I mean, I think it's going to be interesting. I think this could be a real interesting region.
Definitely
go ahead.
I was saying definitely one of the deeper regions, because if you wipe out Dalton Academy, there's 7 teams playing football in this region. Coosa and Armurchie are the 2 that have had consistent losing records overall. Every other team in this region is coming off a winning record. So it's a solid region in terms of 5 teams fighting for 4 playoff spots.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm interested to see. What Chattanooga's going to put together. They lost a lot off of that defense. They're going to lose a lot off the defense, defensive line, secondary.
They've got some 8th graders coming up. I don't know if you saw that little Will Mitchell kid at all this year.
I know who he is. Yeah, I know exactly.
He's like 6 foot tall already, 8th grader, and he can sling the ball. I believe he threw like 2. He beat Calhoun.
He might have to play quarterback. He might have to play.
I already told his parents. I said, this kid gets in the weight room right now, he's going to be a threat to compete for the varsity starting quarterback spot. He's just a real natural athlete. I believe he threw a touchdown pass, turned around, and went to a baseball game and hit 2 home runs or something crazy. Kid's just an athlete all the way around. Yeah, he played for Chattanooga's middle school team and for Trine's rec team. I'm not sure how he pulled that, but he got a ton of reps on the football field this year.
Yeah, and you got Nick Hester coming back, which I feel like that he's going to have to be a lot more significant. And then young kids, what's the young running back that I think he wore number 7 this year?
Yeah, that's Xander Cook's little brother, Zayden Cook. He can absolutely fly, and he is the kind of the heir apparent for their hard-hitting safety spot that Rowan had this year. Zayden will light you up, and he's also on the wrestling team. He's going to be good. They got linebacker Bubba Bass and Gene Keith both coming back. Bubba Bass
and I'll say this
year.
I agree. He had some good games. I say this. You have
That's
to
a
get
heck of a name, by the way.
Yeah, I know, right? Bubba Bass.
Bubba Bass.
You should see this kid. This kid used to be a roly-poly chunky boy. Now he's just a big barrel-chested, square-chinned, just a solid linebacker.
It fits his name.
And a good kid. Good kid.
But in my opinion, sorry.
I remember him going back to like USA wrestling days, Levi.
Yes. He is no longer a little
you got to have more athletes. You got to have more athletes that are in that hallway somehow or another you got to get them on that football field because there are players there.
Yeah, well,
we
they
gotta
had 13 freshmen this year who were part of an undefeated middle school team that chose
did
not
not
to
play football.
And their reasoning, from what I hear from the hallways, is that the coaching change had them all thrown out like, oh, this team's going to be bad and terrible. And the coach didn't really have time to get in there and establish a rapport and win these kids over. From what I heard, Nick Hester is coming to corner and taking on a little bit more of a leadership role. And the transfer from Coosa, Big Billy Settlemore, is just a big, lovable guy on the football field. He is the fastest 240-pound, 6'3" guy I've seen. He can absolutely – he ran down quarterbacks in the backfield. He ran down running backs in the backfield. He did a nimble ballet jump, one-handed catch on a play that got called back up at Fannin County. That was just beautiful. And
I'm just – the point you made, 13 people from an undefeated – not just undefeated, wearing everybody out.
Dominant.
And then you just don't play football.
Including the quarterback from that team who was already a 6 foot, 185-pound 8th grader.
That's about 6'3" and about 195 pounds now.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's kind of a pet peeve of mine. You got to get them out of the hallway.
This goes back to a little bit of my problem, though, with the multiplier and the city schools and the county schools and the overall population and all that kind of stuff. I'm a Chattooga guy. I love Chattooga. I want Chattooga to do just as good as they can possibly do in everything every year. But when we talk about the multiplier and a school like Tryon with 380 students having to play up against teams that have 600, 700, 800 students, I understand we've got a lot of out-of-district students. But part of my argument with that would be, and I'm going to use Chattooga as an example, even though I pull for them all the time. Why can't you keep those kids playing football? Like, I don't want to hear the gripe about. I don't want to hear the gripe about how Tryon has got, 24 football players that live within 5 miles of the school, and how that's an advantage. If Chattooga has 13 football players from an undefeated middle school team that they can't get to play football in high school. And again, I'm not being critical of Chattooga.
The onus, in my opinion, and I'm not trying to call nobody out, but it's got to be on the head coach. You got to figure out a way to get players on the field. I think that's just plain and simple.
Well, I
agree. I pointed this out before. Like, sheer numbers wise, just sheer numbers wise, Tryon should not be able to beat Chattooga ever in football.
Yeah,
that should never be on the table.
Well, something you can look at is Tryon fielded 58 kids on their roster this year, I believe it was. By the end of the season, Chattooga had 41 kids still on the roster.
But I agree with that, and that's with about pretty much half of the student population.
Yeah, I understand where you're coming from, and to take up for the coach a little bit, because I don't want him to think that I'm, just railing on him. But
that'd be two schools.
No.
You can't make somebody play football that doesn't want to play, because you're not going to get nothing out of them.
That'd be two schools, Benton. Rome has got it against Benton. And now,
and now my own school. Anyway, what round?
I'm not trying to put that.
I'm a consolidation.
I'm not trying to put an onus on anybody.
I know
no onus on anybody. Not picking on anybody. I
believe that consolidation is the best thing for a tiny county like Chattooga. I believe that they should have consolidated their school systems a long time ago. I believe that they would have about 1,000 kids. They would still be in the AA classification if those schools combined, and by retaining their resources, it would be one of the better AA schools in the Northwest Georgia area.
It will never happen,
absolutely,
unless it's forced to happen. It will never happen because there's too
much. It will never happen.
Yeah,
unless it's forced to happen.
It'll never happen. It'll never happen, but I agree. I do agree.
Could you guys imagine Rob Brown, LaShawn Lester in the same backfield?
Oh,
Can you
geez.
imagine Brantley Wilbanks, Logan Eller, and Rowan Burdick all on the same defense?
Yeah.
And that offensive line from Tryon this year with Xander Cook added.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah,
it would have been ugly.
That team. That's a double-A quarterfinal team automatically.
Yeah, you would have had Billy Settlemore and Cole Cavan at tight ends outside. You'd have had a huge and then your lines really would have been able to play one side of the ball.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, I got to get off here. I got to be up early.
Yeah, I do too. There's pretty much right here in the D2 version, there's only a couple schools that are in our area.
4 towns.
Christian Heritage. Yeah, Towns.
Bowden and Towns County.
4 towns.
Towns and Mountain Zion down here.
4 towns.
4 towns.
4 towns.
Yeah.
We do some 7-on-7 stuff with those guys. Good people. They're just on an island by themselves. It almost seems like. I mean, they border Raven, but I mean, they're in between Raven and Union.
Well, look at it this way: they need one region win to make the playoffs, so they can do it. But they can do it.
You know, when I was in high school, we played Towns. We played Towns my sophomore and junior year. We beat them both years, but man, were they tough. I mean, they fought hard. They didn't give up. They played hard. And I feel like that's kind of I feel like that's something that in that area of the state, kind of isolated like that, I feel like that's something that's never going to change.
I'll tell you what has hurt Towns County more than anything. They used to have a very good youth football program, a very good youth football program. In the last 4 years, they've not even had youth football.
Wow.
At all in Towns County. Now that is starting to catch up with them now. And it's only going to hurt them for years. Now, they actually just recently hired a new recreation director, and he says he is going to get football back at Towns County. But that is, I mean, that's going to be hard to get. He's going to have to start from the scratch and build up and hope to get kids. But when you lose, and I work in recreation, so I know a little bit about this, but obviously you guys know too about being around football. When you lose a rec program and you don't have a foundation at the youth level, and they're not playing and getting development at 10 and 12 and 8 years old, guys, that's tough.
It's brutal.
But that is what you're going to see that really affect Towns County here starting in a few years, and it's affecting them now. They were good last year because they had all the North Carolina transfers that came over because North Carolina moved their season to spring because of COVID. So they had the McTaggart kid,
That's
who was
right.
the 3-star tight end going to Charlotte. But they were loaded last year with transfers, and they still underperformed.
Well, do you know anything about Pinecrest Academy? Because in that Division 7A D2 there, of the 15 schools, you've only got 5 football schools. And Mount Zion, Christian Heritage, and Bowden are obviously going to be your 3 favorites. But I don't really know anything about Pinecrest Academy.
I know nothing.
Yeah,
I can't.
Pinecrest is in Cumming, Georgia, and they were 10-2 last year. They were 10-2
in a private school region.
Yeah, they played in the GAPPS. They played Central Fellowship Academy, Flint River Academy. Those type schools.
Well, it's hard to tell how they're going to be. I feel like that region is going to be a little soft, other than once you get below Bowden and Christian Heritage. But that whole D2 classification now, to me, is going to have to shake out. I see Clinch County over there in Region 2, and there's definitely some good teams in there. But this is good. Manchester in Region 6 obviously had a solid year.
This will give you a little measuring stick, I guess you'd say. If you look at the all Atlanta rankings, it has Lumpkin County, Towns County, and Pinecrest all in the same vicinity. Like they're all next to each other. So you can kind of they're from Lumpkin and Towns County.
All right,
Well,
guys.
guys-
Well, I got to get off here.
All right, guys.
Chris.
I'm going to get off here too.
Yeah, I got-
I just want to say, I don't want to talk too much trash because I think they're going to meet again. And when they meet again, I still think Georgia's going to win. But for today, I'm going to say Roll Tide.
Oh, I don't hear it.
And I would never say "told you so," but
Yeah.
Hey,
Yeah, I don't.
we will meet again.
Hey,
They will meet again.
Yeah, they're going to meet again. I agree.
And,
Even
it's
though-
almost impossible to beat the same team twice in the same season.
Yes. Yes, it is.
It'll be difficult, but it's possible.
even
There it is.
though they're down, I'm still buzzing over here. So
All
I
right,
knew
guys.
one thing. I knew Alabama was not wanting to play Michigan in the opening round of this playoff. Michigan is on a roll. Watch out. You want Georgia and Alabama to meet again. Watch out for Jim Harbaugh. I'm telling you, he's got these guys peaking at the right time.
I think Michigan.
They are peaking at the right time.
If Michigan doesn't throw for 350 yards or more, they don't beat Georgia because they're going to run into a brick wall.
If Georgia doesn't make a QB change, Michigan
I don't
mops the floor with them.
I think
The
Georgia can win the
the
title.
recipe-
with the QB they have. I don't think you need.
the recipe to beat Georgia is throwing the ball 40 or 50 times a game for 300 or 400 yards, and Michigan cannot do that.
I don't know if it's as much that as blocking up front. I mean, when Alabama didn't allow anybody to get to the quarterback, I don't care who you are, you don't get pressure.
Alabama found an O-line and a defense in that SEC championship game, and that's what won it.
Well,
Now they've had a run defense all year long.
Hey, guys, I got to get. I
They've
will
had a
talk to
run-
you
we'll
all
see.
later.
We'll see.
Oh, hey, Chris.
I'll say this about Alabama. Their offensive line surprised me. They played better than what they had, and they threw the deep ball perfect. And they had people sitting wide open a lot of times. Busting coverage. You're gonna have to bring the house. You have to bring people in.
I tell you one more thing. That Jamison Williams transferred from Ohio State to Alabama.
Yeah.
I don't think he deserves to win the Heisman, but I think it's a little bit of a shame that he didn't get invited because he's about as explosive of a wide receiver as there is in college football.
I think
Will
it just
Anderson
stems
should
from
have
a
got
struggle.
invited. Will Anderson should have got invited. I understand
I don't
the
disagree.
Michigan kid, but Will Anderson had, 15 and a half sacks and 91 tackles compared to 58 tackles for Hutchinson. That's
Yeah.
I agree. Hutchinson got invited just off of a kind of a popularity contest, I think.
because they needed a defensive guy.
Yep, and he's kind of the face of that. So,
Yeah, I knew.
but guys,
I knew
hey,
that. Hold on one second. I
Enjoy.
knew that you would get. I knew you would get a. I'm not blaming the coach. I did also say that the players has got to want to play, but
Yeah.
you got to make it. You got to make it. I mean, not saying you didn't make an effort because I'm not there to say that you didn't go in the hallway and find out, but it just hurts when you don't see those players continue to play. And sorry if I upset you. I don't mean to upset you. I'm a Chattooga guy through and through. It seems like I upset everybody on here, but anyway, I apologize, Mr. Schrader.
you can, hey Benton, you can rarely give your opinion if you don't upset somebody.
Well, I mean, I've just been through my entire life as a Chattooga Indian, and I'm just going to tell it like it is. I guess I apologize for upsetting people.
That's all you can do. That's all you can do.
Yeah, I don't want to be on nobody's bad side, and I apologize for that.
Well, guys, hey, I appreciate it. Looking forward to talking to you guys again. It's been a fun year, and hopefully we can get on here and do at least one more of these to kind of cap the year off.
Oh yeah, we'll talk more.
All right, guys.
All right,
Appreciate it.
Y'all.
See y'all next time.
Yes, sir.